Network.
In the Lab Room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I, of course, am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 7 in the National Football League. Detroit Lions hosting the New Orleans Saints fresh off of their bye week, looking to get back to 500 on the season. What a journey it's been for this Saints team who started this season off 0-2, struggling mightily. Got their first win at home versus the Minnesota Vikings. Then went on the road, lost again. Then came back home, beat Tampa Bay, and went on their bye week. So they're looking to see if they can try to get 2 wins consecutively for the first time this season and get back to 500. Meanwhile, Detroit Lions coming off of a nice win last week, bouncing back from that ugly loss at home to the Buffalo Bills. Went on the road, got it done a week ago. So now sitting at 5-2. No Calvin loves the Megatron again for the second consecutive week. Could they pull it out against a hungry, a starving New Orleans Saints football team? This was going to be a big one for the Detroit Lions. Could they get this win, keep pace with the Packers in that NFC North division at 5-2? So you look at this game. Stafford picked off by Keenan Lewis deep in Lions territory. So not a lot going on in this game early on, as that takes us straight to the second quarter. And Pierre Thomas is flagged for offensive face mask as he grabs the face mask of the defender as he's trying to stiff on him. But 3 plays later, a Lions pass interference penalty re-energizes this this Saints drive, gives them a fresh set of downs, and it leads to a 13-yard Austin Johnson touchdown. The fullback gets his first career touchdown of his career and also gives the Saints a 7-0 lead in this football game. Kyrie Robinson, however, later on in the first half, coughs up the football in Lions territory. Then the Saints are flagged for pass interference, and that leads to a 23-yard field goal. Matt Prater, can you believe this? A 23-yarder, which is essentially an extra point. He clanked it off the uprights. Can you believe that? I mean, what do the Lions have to do to get a reliable kicker that just kicks it down the middle, makes it uneventful, and just makes the field goal, man? Do you still have Jason Hanson's number on speed dial? You need to call him up. I know he's probably like 72 years old right now and doesn't want to play football anymore, but I'm pretty sure Jason Hanson could come off of his couch and kick the football better than any kicker you've had on your football team this season. Jesus. Good gracious, man. It's been bad for this Lions team all season at the field goal kicking position. And he almost botched a 23-yard. I don't know what you do with. You can't make a 23-yard. I don't know what to tell you, Detroit. I don't know what to tell you. But fortunately for you, it went in, and so it's 7-3. Saints cap off an extremely physical first half. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. With a field goal on a very nice drive by the Saints offense to get into field goal range. And their kicker clanks it. Shane Graham clanks it off of the upright and has it go in. So I don't know what's going on. Was there a little bit of wind? I could have sworn that Ford Field was a closed stadium, was a dome that was enclosed, and there was no extra, weather conditions and outside factors that you had to deal with. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they hit the Buffalo Wild Wings button or something, and just a gust of wind was blowing or something. I don't know. His kicks were coming out all kinds of funky. They were knuckleballs swerving all over the place. But it went in. That's all that matters. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to count for 3, and it did. It's 10-3 at the half. Let's talk about this first half. This was a physical game. Not just the first half. You would have thought these two teams hated each other. You would have thought that these were some rivals within a division together, and this was family business. It's the Saints and the Lions. There's no animosity here, at least not to my knowledge. There's no bad blood here. Yet these two teams were going after one another. This was beautiful football. Physical football game. A lot of chippiness, a lot of extra stuff after the whistle. There was enough extra stuff. Well, a lot of personal foul penalties and a lot of face masks and passing interference. There was a lot of chippiness and laying hands on other players. A lot of after the play's over, extra little shove, maybe a push in the face, or maybe a twist of the ankle. Just a lot of nonsense. Not a nastiness where it's like, what's the linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals? Not Vontaze Burfict nasty where you're twisting ankles on purpose after the play's over, but there's a lot of extra chippiness where you can see, you hit a guy and you stand up over the pile over him, and he get up and he give you a shoulder. Get off me, man. Don't be standing over me like you crazy. Or you make a tackle and the guy's trying to get up and you smush his helmet and you push him down. I mean, there was a lot of craziness going on. I loved every second. I love chippy football, man. Football is a physical game full of aggression. And if you're a nice guy out there on the football field, you get beat. Simple as that. Usually the meanest guys win in this league. Not saying to go out and promote an extreme amount of violence after the whistle is blown, but you can tell some of these guys have a little bit of extra edge to them. You don't have to play like that. You don't have to play, this game was a lot of coloring outside the lines. And I like that a little bit. Jeff Fisher is known for coaching his team to color outside the lines a little bit, if you know what I mean. And so there's a lot of coloring. Looked like a 3-year-old colored this one. This wasn't a nice, clean portrait where the color stayed inside the lines. There's a lot of extra scribbling outside the black lines, or in this case, the white lines. And so, hey, this was fun to watch, though, man. Very physical football game. And you know what? I keep finding myself saying is that every time the Detroit Lions are involved, it's a very physical football game. Have you noticed that? This is a physical football team. And this was the most physical game I had seen since week, 2? Lions and Panthers. So you see the trend here. You see the constant here. There's a common denominator. The Detroit Lions are in all these physical games. That Buffalo game against Detroit, physical football game. This Lions team is a physical football team. And I think that's what teams are figuring out as they play them. This isn't the finesse Lions of the last 3 or 4 years that were under Jim Schwartz, that they wanted to be tough guys, but they picked up penalties and they did stupid stuff to become tough guys. They weren't tough in between the whistles. No, they're tough now. They're tough. They're a smarter football team, still making some mistakes, still doing some things that you're like, you're still a little rough around the edges, but this is a tough physical football team, and they're making it count on the field. They're not giving up a lot of points. They're playing good football. So it's 10-3 at the half. New Orleans up. Breeze comes out sharp in the second half. Chunk plays to Colston to start the half off, and then a 46-yard touchdown strike to Kenny Stills. It's 17-3. Okay, whoa, New Orleans. And I will say this right now. We'll elaborate on it a little bit later on. This was by far the best game the Saints has played all season long. And I'll come in. And I know you said, what? They lost? What are you talking about? I'll explain later. But this was Drew Brees at his best this season. We haven't seen Drew Brees this sharp all season long. At that point, after that touchdown, I want to say Drew Brees might have been 19 of 22 for about 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was sharp, razor sharp. And Drew Brees has been throwing interceptions this year. He's been inaccurate. And there was no Jimmy Graham for the most part in this game. Jimmy was watching for the most part. He got a couple of snaps in. He snuck in the game a couple of times. He was a non-factor, though. This was without Jimmy Graham, and Drew Brees was razor sharp. And this is a really good Detroit Lions defense that gets after your quarterback, that puts pressure on you. So for him to be playing the way he was playing up until this point, hey, I tip my imaginary cap. But look, that's what I expect from Sean Payton coming out of a bye. That's why coming into this game, he was undefeated coming off of a bye. So this team looked well prepared. They looked like they were ready to get back to 500 on the season. It's 17-3 New Orleans up on the road in Detroit. Lions respond with a Lions respond to this 14-point deficit. I mean, who would have thought that they would be down 14 in their own crib to the Saints, nonetheless, a team that struggles on the road and is under 500 on the season. Nobody saw this coming. So Lions said, hey, what are we doing? Time to wake up, wake up, wake up. We down by 14. Get up, get up, get up. Let's get us some points now. So they go down the field, 12 plays, 80 yards, touchdown, ending 1-yard Joyke Bell touchdown. And so that's exactly what the doctor ordered for this Lions team. 12 plays, 80 yards, capped off by a Joyke Bell 1-yard touchdown run. And all of a sudden, it's 17-10. They're right back in this ball game as we head to the fourth quarter. Saints end a 10-play drive with a field goal that extends the lead out to 20-10. So Saints able to keep the Lions at arm's distance. Back up, give me my space, back up. So it's 20-10 now, 2-score lead for the Saints in this game. Stafford picked off as the Lions go on a march. And they get all the way down to about the 11-yard line of the Saints before Stafford throws it. And see, this is what happens when you throw the football to guys you don't trust. Throws the football to Jordan Thompson, your third or fourth string tight end. I don't know where this guy is in the pecking order. You know, definitely behind Ebron and behind Pettigrew and probably behind Joseph Fourier. Don't know where this kid is, but somewhere in there, there's Jordan Thompson, and this is why he's your fourth string tight end. Drops the football, has it carry him off his hands into the waiting arms of Kenny Vaccaro, who picks it off, takes it back into Lions territory, sets up a field goal. It's now 23-10. At this point, I'm thinking a lot of the Lions faithful probably headed for the exits right about now, as it's extremely quiet in the dome. I'm talking eerily quiet. You could hear a pin drop. There's nothing going on. Lions haven't done much of anything offensively to this point. To be honest with you, the Saints have dominated this football game. It's 23-10, and it's 5 minutes left in the game. And it looks like the Saints are heading for a victory, the second in a row. Coming off this bye, you know, Sean Payton continues his streak of winning games after the bye week. They're going to get back to 500. All seems well in New Orleans right now. And then it happens, and it was a Golden Tate clutch 73-yard catch and run when the Lions were being tamed. I mean, this game was over for all intents and purposes. Over. And then Golden Tate with the catch, with the play of the game. I mean, we can look at that Glover Quinn interception as the play of the game, but without this play, there's no that play. And so Golden Tate takes a simple 12 back to 10. All he ran was a simple hookup, a hook route, 12 back to 10, runs a 12-yard route, comes back to 10, comes back to the football, jumps in the air, catches it, and as he hits the ground, he has one of those Scooby-Doo moments. You know how Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, when they jump in the air, and they go, and their feet are just moving, but they're not on the ground, so they're not moving. And as soon as they hit the ground, and you see the dust clouds go up in the air, and they take off running. That's what Golden Tate did to the Saints. He jumped in the air, and his feet were like ready to go as soon as he hit the ground. As soon as he hit the ground, he turned around, he spun to the outside, and he took off. I mean, he went into another gear, took off down the sideline, and the Saints couldn't catch him. Ran right by 3 Saint defenders, including Keenan Lewis, got into the end zone. And just like that, a game that seemed to be over just 5 seconds ago is now a 1-score game at 23-17. Lions are right back in this game. Hey, how about that? After being dominated, essentially, and having this game seem out of reach, Saints are allowing them to hang around now, but with a couple of first downs, the Saints can put this game on ice. And then Drew Brees makes the mistake that you can't make in this situation. If the Lions want to drive 87 yards after you punt the football and strip them of all their timeouts, if they want to drive 87 yards and beat you and your defense can't come up with the stops, so be it. Let that happen. But don't throw an interception that gives them the football right in your wheelhouse to win this football game. Don't give them the football right there, deep in Saints territory with a chance to win. And that's what Drew Brees did as he's picked off. He tried to do too much on this play. He could have scrambled, used his legs, or he could have just ate it, took a sack, whatever. But don't throw a pick here. That's for one thing you can't do. You'll take an incompletion and punt the football over this interception. Tries to force the football into a tight space. Glover Quinn is waiting on it, and he picks the football off as he takes it deep into Saints territory. But the Saints defense is able to hold up, force a 4th and 5, where Raphael Bush is flagged for pass interference. No, and it was a good call. He didn't have to do it. If Reginald Bush catches this football, he's still 2 yards short of the sticks. All you got to do is make the tackle or even push him out of bounds. The fact that he felt the need to get there early and try to affect the play is beyond me. I can't understand why he would do that. That play wasn't going to yield a first down, and you win. After the turnover, you still win the game. And Raphael Bush makes a cardinal sin there, commits a cardinal sin, gives up the first down, and you would know, as fate would have it, you make that kind of mistake at that juncture of the game, it's going to come back and haunt you. And after dropping a pass 2 plays earlier, Corey Fuller gets to redeem himself back in the end zone. This pass is errant. Matthew Stafford is extremely high on his pass. Luckily enough for him, A, Corey Fuller is 6'2", and B, Corey Fuller can jump out of the gym because he took off, he left his feet, elevated, climbed the ladder, went up, stretched as far as he could, brought that football down, and then had the presence of mind to get both feet in, get one down, drop the other one as he fell out of bounds. Gorgeous leaping grab in the back of the end zone. Busted coverage by the Saints. This guy was uncovered. There was nobody around him, and he catches the 5-yard touchdown pass to go ahead and give the Lions the lead at 24-23. Still over a minute left in this game, and with the game that Drew Brees has played thus far, it's plenty of time to get into field goal range, even though Shane Graham has already clanked one off the upright. It went in, but wasn't pretty. He still made 2 field goals in this game, so if they can get into field goal range, they can still win this game. So Drew Brees and the offense takes the field. Drew Brees is able to pick up a first down after rushing for a first down on a 3rd down, able to keep the drive alive, or it might have been a 4th down even. And so that was a huge pickup by Drew Brees. But after that, wasn't able to pick up another first down as the Lions clamped down defensively, as they had pretty much done all second half, with the exception of that opening possession where Brees was able to find Kenny Stills. They pretty much clamped down on this Saints offensive attack. And so the Detroit Lions come all the way back down 13 with 5 minutes left in this game to steal one at home, 24-23. It wasn't pretty, but again, the good teams find a way to get it done, especially at home, and that's what this Lions team did. I wouldn't encourage them to continue to do it this way often, but a win's a win's a win's a win in the National Football League, and this was a big one. Without your big horse, how long's the Muggletron? And I tell you what, where would you be without Golden Tate this season? Golden Tate has been a revelation. He has been your savior this season, especially without Calvin Johnson being in the lineup. He's been the guy that's carried you, and without his 73-yard catch and run, you absolutely lose this football game. He's been phenomenal for you, and this has been money well spent for you thus far, as he's got the most yards after the catch, and you saw why on that 73-yard touchdown in the league this season. And so, huge win for the Lions. I can't state that enough. For every Buffalo Bills loss you have, there needs to be a win like this somewhere to counterbalance and offset that. And so this erases that Buffalo Bills loss, because that was a bad loss at home. This was an even better win at home because you should have lost this game. So for every loss you have like that Buffalo Bills, when you need one like this to offset it, this was a big one at home to move to 5-2, and more importantly, keep pace with the Packers, who are also 5-2 in the NFC North division. If you're the Saints, this one stings. But I will say this much. This is your best played game all season long. And I know you say, how could that be? We lost. Even the win at home versus Minnesota and Tampa Bay weren't as impressive as this. This was on the road. Drew Brees was his most efficient he has been all season long with this. Look, you played 55 minutes of great football in this game. That's the only problem was the last 5 minutes of the game was terrible. And that's what lost you this game. You played 55 minutes of perfection. I mean, the defense looked like the defense from last year. You were running around. I mean, Curtis Lofton looked like a different man. I mean, Keenan Lewis looked like a different man in this game. Okay? Julian Gillette looked like a different man in this game. This defense looked different. They looked hungry. They looked like the savage, untamed beasts that were the Saints defense last season that was stymieing teams. Not this garbage unit that was trotting out there and giving it up all season long before the bye week. So something changed. You played great football for 55 minutes, and somewhere along the line, you took your foot off the gas pedal, and it cost you in the final 5 minutes of the game. But if you can play like this and play like this for 60 minutes instead of 55, you can win this division. This division is trash. And right now, that performance I saw from you was the best performance of any team I've seen in this division all season long, including the Panthers in their 3 victories. So if you can play like this for 55 minutes and take it and make it 60 minutes and win games, I think you can win this division, because this division is wide open. And the winner of this division probably going to win 9 games. So as bad as you started, the rest of this division is just as bad. And so you have a legitimate shot at still in this division. But you're going to have to win games. I can sit here and tell you about how good you played for 55. You still lost the game. And at the end of the day, I can sit here and talk about how well you looked and how much better and improved you look coming off the bye week. Still comes down to wins and losses at the end of the day. And you lost. So you need to find out what you need to do to correct this, get all those things rectified, and come back and get a win next week. This was a tough one to swallow because you had this game. You played well enough to win. You should have won, but you didn't. Now you got to go back to the drawing board and see if you can get a win next week to try to crawl back to 500, get even closer, get back to 3 and 4, and then try to see if you can find a way to string together 2 consecutive wins, something you haven't been able to do all season long. That's going to do it for Saints and Lions. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me because I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 7 of the National Football League. See you in a bit. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.